Welcome to the Dev Life, everybody. My name is Brooke, and I am here with my excellent co-host, as always. This is Matt.
Hello.
How are you, Matt?
Doing good. Friday
Nice.
morning, so we'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. But so on today's episode, everybody, we're going to be chatting kind of about a few things, really. We're going to be talking about Angular, of course, professional growth, some AI, and just really whatever else comes up. I'm just excited because we have really a tremendous guest on the show, and I'm excited to see where the conversation takes us. But everybody, this is Sander Elias. So welcome to the show, Sander.
Hey.
And for those of you who don't know, he is an Angular and Web GDE. He's a popular speaker, a meetup organizer, also there in the Netherlands, and he's a senior principal engineer. So again, welcome to the show.
Hey. Hi, you all. Thank you, Brooke. It's such an honor to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation and what it is going to bring.
Well, we
Uh,
appreciate it. I know there's kind of a time difference, so we were just chatting a minute ago about how it's evening for you. You've had dinner, we've just had breakfast, so
yeah, I had a very early dinner because usually this is my dinner time. This is the hour that
oh,
I use dinner on Friday, which is earlier than my normal dinner because usually I take my dinner at 6 p.m.,
okay.
which is in 2 hours. But on Friday, I have this online gathering with other Angular heads, and we are just hanging out and talking shop, basically. And so that's why my dinner is usually early on Friday, and today it was even earlier than
And
that.
earlier. Oh, well, thank
But
you.
an early dinner.
Yeah.
So I'm
I'm
good for the
curious,
evening.
so who else does these Angular meetings with you on Fridays?
Um, well, there are a couple of and not anyone famous just yet, but I think there are a couple in the group that will be
Nice.
at a certain point in time. It's just basically I started this doing something like this during COVID
Uh,
for I think a little over 2 years, and then I dropped out of it for a while, and then we started doing it again because I actually missed the Friday evening uh, gathering uh, because it is nice to hang out and talk to people that understand what you're doing during your day job.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that is in your personal life, but if I start talking about my day job in my personal life, um, I bore the hell out of people. I I don't know how it's with you, but my spouse is not the slightest interested in computer
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
It definitely depends on who you're talking to. But see, that's why I'm friends with people like Matt, because we can sit there and dork out and talk about all these things and we get it. So,
yeah,
uh,
uh,
Oh, I can relate to that so much. The other day, I was telling my wife about async message queues and like RabbitMQ, and she's like, "What language are you speaking?" I'm like,
yeah.
"Sorry, like
Oh,
rubber
that's
ducking." She's like, "What's rubber ducking?" I'm like, "Oh."
but did you say you are my rubber duck?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably didn't go well.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
but we can set up a chat about Rabbit MQ if you like, though.
Oh, that's funny. So I have to take a moment because we've been doing the show for a little while now, and I think our listeners have developed a bit of a relationship with Matt, and I really wanted to take a second to just congratulate him because Sandra, here you are talking about a couple of these Angular heads who are up and coming. They're probably going to make a name for themselves, and I see Matt very much that same way. And he actually just this week found out that he's been accepted to be an Angular GDE. So he's joining the ranks, and we couldn't be happier. So just really, really proud of him. But what I'd love to hear though is, like I was mentioning, you are a GDE yourself in Angular and in web. So what was your exactly? Yes, I know. I've got my plaque right there too. It's kind of fun to have. But what was your journey into that? And what does being a GDE mean for you?
Well, being a GDE is a boatload of fun, mostly because I get to hang out with other GDEs, and most of the GDEs are very, very cool people and are lovely to chat with. But it wasn't a big difference for me because I was doing those things before I became a GDE.
Right.
Even before I knew that a GDE was a thing to begin with. And my journey was slightly different because I was on an Angular conference and I was talking with some guy from the GDE thing, and I say, "Hey, we don't have an Angular GDE in the Netherlands." And then he said, "Yes, but Angular GDEs are not an official thing." That was way before Angular GDEs weren't an official thing back then. So, but you can become a web GDE featuring Angular. That was how it was called back then. So there was some back and forth, and that was basically my starting point for becoming a GDE. It took a while, mostly because the program was closed for a while and program was reopened, and then I had to play calendar tic-tac-toe with the persons that are needed to interview me.
Yes.
So it took way over a year before everything went through.
Wow.
So
that takes a lot of persistence.
Yeah. Also, back then, it was a little bit harder to get in. You are more tested on your technical knowledge. Now you are more tested on your public presence.
Community.
So that, yeah, you're more tested on your community skills and your presence than you are on your technical. You still need to have like a pretty solid grasp of the technical base, but it is not like when I started. I know when I started, I had my interview with Paul, my GD interview with Paul Lewis.
Okay.
And I was talking about Butter Smooth UI building a graphics clock.
Okay.
So, and that was, I did my homework because I know that was his sweet spot. He always was talking about butter sweet, butter smooth UIs. So I made sure that my UI was 60 frames a second, being brutally smooth, fully functional programmed. So I think it's still in my sample somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, when I did the interview, it was Mark Texan, and then he actually drilled me pretty hard. We were getting into signal stores and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I could only imagine, being the first one in the Netherlands doing that. That's really amazing, man.
Yeah, my journey began in 2014, and I became official, I think, in 2016. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing that, you're a veteran to Angular. You've probably then seen Angular shift with standalone components, built-in control flow, and signals. You've seen it back in the day. I mean, maybe you've even seen it back when
my Angular
wasn't
story.
just Angular, like
it was Angular JS. Yes, my story started somewhere in 2009.
Oh wow. So I'm really curious hearing that. In your opinion, what is the single most significant change, for better or for worse, that has fundamentally altered the developer experience since you've gotten into Angular JS?
Since I got into Angular JS, I think that's a little bit different because Angular JS was a big shift for what was possible back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was a way bigger shift from what was before to AngularJS than it was from AngularJS to Angular 2.
Mm-hmm.
Although if I look back in the last in the last time, I would say signals and everything that comes with signals, including zoneless applications and all the goodies there, are going to be the big shift in, I think, front-end programming. I'm even saying front-end programming, not even Angular programming.
Right.
So
Yeah.
as it looks now, signals are going to be in TC39, that we also know as JavaScript itself. And if that happens, that is actually such a cool primitive. And when I learned about signals were new for me like 2 years ago.
Right.
I started with it before Angular 16 was, I think, about 2 years ago. And I dove in and I learned directly that, okay, this is not a new concept. They invented it in the 60s. All the big things, all the great things are invented in the 60s. Myself included.
There you go.
I was going to ask, yeah.
But it was apparently not a new thing, but it was new in the front end. So I learned about it before it was an Angular, so I decided to build a couple of implementations myself. I built like 2 different signal implementations in pure JavaScript just to know how those things were working. And I gave boatloads and boatloads of feedback to the Angular team about things that I was missing, and I found that were not there. And slowly everything became more and more complete and more reliant and more robust. And I really like where we are now. There are a couple of things that we still need. Although in version 21 we will have signal forms, which is the big missing part for a lot of people. Actually, I was already using signals for my forms, but in my personal projects, I never used Angular form modules. I always built my own stuff. But now with signal forms being a thing, I can see myself using Angular for this stuff instead of needing to build my own stuff.
Okay. I know there's always, it seems like at ng-conf, there's always this debate of what kind of form is, template driven or whatever, but that's
Oh,
interesting.
that is actually not a question. There is like a proper answer to that. Template-driven
Okay.
forms are the way forward. If you like building your own control structure for
Right.
no reason whatsoever, go with reactive forms. But
Yeah.
they don't add anything to, except for pain, to building forms.
Yeah. Okay, well, and so I am curious though, because you were saying, you helped kind of develop and bring signals up to where they are now, but it got me thinking.
Well, that is a little bit more credit than I
Okay.
deserve, but I gave a boatload of feedback, and I'm
There
still
we go.
giving
Okay.
boatloads of
So
feedback to the Angular team, and I'm taking this thing serious because I really feel that signals are the way forward for
yeah.
at least Angular, but probably for the rest of the ecosystem
Okay.
too. You are seeing signals in Preact, you are seeing signals in Svelte, and in a lot of older frameworks, they also have like signals. The syntax is slightly different, but the principle is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the next big thing. And I really like how signals are push-pull or pull-push, whatever you want to call it. They are both. And people are always saying, no, but you need to have observables because those are push, which is also true. But look, we can dive deeply in all kinds of things there. Signals are the next best thing for reactive programming because they are really simple to understand.
Yes.
And that is what is the most important thing. I can explain signals to a junior developer in 10 minutes, and they will have a fair grasp on how to use those things.
Yeah. See, now that's one thing I've appreciated about Angular, especially since that Renaissance phase started, where I feel like they've made things less complicated and it's more approachable and just so much more enjoyable to learn, especially if you're like brand new to it. But So what are some things or a thing, I guess, that you feel like maybe, you just mentioned Svelte and some of these other frameworks. Is there anything that you feel like Angular is still lacking or that you wish Angular had the capabilities of doing that it isn't currently doing?
Getting rid of React.
That's a good, I like that.
Um, no, not really. I think Angular has a very complete suite of solutions for most things you need to build in our front end, especially in an enterprise setting. I like Angular because it allows me to do two things. One, write less code and makes it so much easier to hand off my whatever that I produced to someone else, because if they know Angular, they understand what I have done and they know where to look for things.
Right.
And that is the most important thing, that Angular gives you a language that you can easily hand over to other uh, developers. And Angular does that way more than any of the other frameworks, especially
Yes.
if you're building long-lasting applications. None of the other frameworks have this CLI tool that automatically upgrades your code to the latest, newest thing they came up with.
Yeah.
So if you need to do that in other frameworks, you are basically manually upgrading most of your applications all the time. And I've been programming for a long while, and this is the first framework in any language that I've ever seen to do something like this. So not for once, but like on a continued base for every release, there are upgrade schematics that take your code and bring them up to speed with what's modern now. That is a unique selling point for Angular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The longevity from your code base is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And so earlier you talked about, getting rid of React. And it's funny because I had been coding in React for about 8 years before I got into Angular. I got into Angular around Angular 15 or so. And at first I was like, Angular or React's better because I was diving in without the signals. I was, and there wasn't control flow. And I was like, what the heck is this ng-if thing, And then control flow comes out, signals come out, and the DevX experience became significantly better and more efficient. And I mean, I'm with you. Those 8 years of React, like within 2 years of Angular, I feel like I could do way more with Angular than all of that experience with React, just because it's such a better framework. And I mean, not to mention the way it works with components, and the way you can break those out, and the default pattern gives you broken out files, whereas React tries to push you into combining your
Right.
TypeScript and your
Yes.
HTML into one folder. So I'm so with you on that.
Yeah, I think it boils down to Angular makes it really easy for you to do the right thing, where React makes it really hard for you to do the right thing.
Yes, I love that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I've worked with React in a professional setting, so and I knew it was bad before I started working with it. And then I was working with it, and I was really every freaking day it cannot be this bad.
Yes.
And I looked for answers, and the answer I got was, yeah, it's probably even worse than you're still thinking.
Oh,
And I
no.
was learning that every day over and over again. There are, and that is not React's fault. That is basically because of the whole ecosystem that is around it, that is selling React as the best thing since sliced bread. But React is just basically a framework for a library for creating views. But if you're building an application is way more than just a view.
Right.
Then also they have this virtual DOM thing that I think is, I think that tells it already. The problem is, why would I need a virtual DOM? Well, there is one answer for that. In the past, it was okay to fix whatever Internet Explorer 8 is breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That problem is gone for quite a while already, but that was the only solution. That is the the problem React is solving. None of the other things can be solved. Are selling points for React. I don't know them. Other than, yeah, but it has a big ecosystem and we can get React developers on every street corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is true and not true. You
Yeah.
can find on every street corner, you can find someone that tells himself an experienced React developer. Let me not go there.
Yeah. Speaking of that, another argument I hear is, oh, GraphQL works great with React. But that's usually from people who don't realize that you could use GraphQL with Angular as well. I'm curious if you ever use GraphQL with Angular, or what your opinions are on Graph.
I like the problem that GraphQL is solving. I think a lot of people don't have this problem and should not be using GraphQL.
Mhm.
And what problem is that? Okay, the problem is I have a backend team that is building the wrong APIs, and I cannot get the data that I need. So I need something in between that is converting this non-functional backend to something I can use in the front end.
Yeah.
There are better ways of solving this problem. Mostly make sure that your backend is up to speed with what you actually need from the front end, and putting in an extra layer in between is just raising the overall complexity of your whole application. It is yet another layer in your stack that needs maintenance. Also, it's basically a big black box that is sitting in the middle that you have no idea what is going on inside. And it works well until you really need to scale, and then suddenly things become slow and you go like, what's happening?
What's happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you need to poke at this black box and figure out why it is being so tremendously slow out of nowhere. And I can tell you, debugging that is a hard thing to do. And you need specialists for that. And those specialists are not cheap. And quite often you find out that the problem is not the GraphQL, but still the backend that is doing something less smart. Let me put it like that. So
Interesting, because I've had a couple of friends, and working at larger corporations like Fidelity and others, and they talk about how they're getting rid of GraphQL. They want to get away from it, not going so great. So it seems like that's you know it's kind of the way things are going right now. People are leaving and finding other
I
things.
know you are adding a really complex box in the middle of your stack.
Yeah.
And yes, the front end part is kind of nice, but then it does all kinds of magic with caching and not caching, or too much caching or not enough caching. And you're asking for one extra field and suddenly a round trip takes 2 minutes instead of 20 seconds. What it was before, and 20 seconds is already really, really, really bad.
Right.
So yeah, it's I've learned from GraphQL from the get-go. I saw it at first and I think, hey, this is interesting. And then I looked into it and I thought, it is interesting, but I don't want it in any of my programs or in any of my stacks, because it is this big black box thing in the middle, and I don't like big black boxes. They have one real good use case, and that is being in an airplane.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
but those black boxes are actually yellow or orange.
Yeah, the not black orange box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could have a whole discussion about RabbitMQ about that too, but that's off topic, so we won't go there. But
Yeah, RabbitMQ is nice. But you can use basically any of the MQTT stacks. There are a boatload of them, and they are pretty interchangeable. I think RabbitMQ makes it more complex than it needs to be. You can use Mosquito or something like Apache. What's the name? It's so gnome. The Apache pub sub thing. Kafka.
Oh, Kafka. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say temporal, but
Apache Kafka, which is also basically a glorified MQTT server, and there are a lot of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay, transitioning a little bit more to about you, Sander. So I know you were mentioning earlier you've had quite the career path. So I would love to hear a little bit about that and about your role as a senior principal engineer and what's involved in that.
Yeah, my career path started in the early 80s. I basically started my own business and I have been self-employed since back then. I still run the same business. In way back, I was responsible basically for everything. So I was actually building and designing the computers, the software, the whole stack.
Wow.
Also selling and doing the marketing, the after marketing, the whole shebang. I was responsible for the whole shebang. That I did that for years and years on a row, and in the early 90s, this new thing came around, which was called the internet.
Internet, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was thinking, this is going to be something. So I basically started moving all of my software to include the internet, which back then meant that I had to build an HTTP server from scratch because what I needed to do was not available. It wasn't talking to the languages I was working with. So I built my own HTTP servers. I built my own FTP servers, FTP servers, and all of those things. I even created some of my own protocols. Right now we have WebSocket, but back then I needed something like WebSocket, except that didn't exist. So I invented my own. And I built web applications from that period on. So fast forward like a couple of years, and I was getting fed up with building web application in JavaScript using jQuery because it was always doing the wrong thing. The code organization was crap, basically. There was nothing. It was just a bunch of helpers. So I started building my own library that basically said, hey, I'm going to use the DOM as the single source of truth. I will attach my data to the DOM. And I was building this, and at a certain point in time, I learned about a small library or a small framework that was basically doing the exact same thing that I was building for my own. You might guess by now that thing was called Angular JS. And I was, this is nice. This is actually what I want to do. And they already did it for me. And so I started using that. And pretty soon after that, I released my first Angular application, which was before Angular JS was released as version 1.
Wow.
I think my first application that I put in front of a customer was on 0.6 or 0.7. It was buggy as hell, but it was better than whatever else that was there. And I think the first thing I sold was on version 0.9.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been building applications. I've been building web applications for a little while. I've seen all kinds of frameworks, and I've always come back to Angular because it helped me to write less and do more. Especially in Angular JS. Once it became Angular 2, it was not writing so much less anymore because it was a little bit more verbose. even before Angular 2 was released, I've sat down with Minko and said, can we get rid of those modules? Because I like a lot of those things you are doing here, but those modules, they should go. And we try to find a way to get rid of them. But back then, with the state of JavaScript and all of the TypeScript, there was simply no way to build Angular without modules.
Yeah.
Which was a pity because I never liked those things. So
Twice the work. Yeah. Yeah. So then you've had this business, but then my understanding, you're still working at Hero Devs, correct?
I'm not working at Hero Devs.
Not there. Okay.
Well,
okay.
We parted. We parted a while ago.
Okay. Okay.
So
then where did that principal staff, senior principal engineer come in?
Yeah, that was put on me when I was working for Hero Devs because I actually was doing my own thing and I was going like, okay. And they asked me, what title do you want? And I said, well, I don't care. A title means nothing to me. It is just a title on a piece of paper. So whatever you think is fancy. And they said, well, okay, we think you should call yourself a senior principal engineer. And I was, okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds fine to me.
It took that. I mean, what I'm getting out of that story is that you just had the determination to sit down and learn things. I mean, that takes a lot of curiosity, but persistence and.
Oh yeah, I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm dedicating like at least 20 hours a week to learning. And when I started, that was way more than 20 hours a week. And I'm still doing that every freaking week.
Wow.
So if you're going to count hours that I have studied technology, web technology, I think I rank a little bit higher than most people.
Yeah. So, okay, aside from building your own HTTP server, but you've mentioned doing a lot of studying, but are there any other skills or?
Well, I saw the script before, so I had a little time to prepare. And I think the moment, if you are a junior, it's all about the how to. You need to learn the how. How do I build this thing? How do I build that thing? On the moment you know the how on most of the things, you become a mediocre or even a senior, depending on how much you already know on the top of your head. And once you're on that level, it becomes more about the why. We don't care about how. We know that you know how to build things, so that's not going to be any discussion anymore. We're going to talk about the why. And I think that is more important, and then becomes more and more important. And for me, it was always about the why. I'm a curious person, and I always want to know why things are working the way they are working. I think I told you I built my own Signal implementations because I wanted to know how this thing works, what it does internally, so that I know if I'm going to use this, where are the pitfalls, what can I expect and what can I not expect, and what it is going to solve and what is it not going to solve. And the only real way to know those things is building something like that.
Yeah.
I need to know why, otherwise I will forget it in 10 minutes. But the why question is, once you move up in your career path, at a certain point in time, you should stop asking the how question and start asking the why questions. Why am I doing this? Why am I using library X instead of library I? And can I explain that to someone that doesn't understand shit about our business? If you can do that, you're there.
I love that.
I've noticed you got to be able to explain it to people who don't understand code very well once you get into a leadership position. But then you also have to be able to speak the code language very fluently to other engineers.
Right.
And man, I also, quick side note, I just want to say I'm very grateful for all this feedback you've been sending Angular because
yes, right.
it sounds like you've helped shape the biggest problems I've had with Angular also to no longer be problems. So
That's exactly why when you're a GDE, you're added to the Slack Angular channel, and Sander is constantly in there giving feedback, sharing thoughts, and
yeah,
that's what I mean when I said he's bleeding Angular because he's just such a, I think, important person and contributor to the framework.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So going back to the discussion about working with team members. So it sounds like your role has often involved driving technical strategy across silos. What techniques do you use to gain consensus and ensure technical alignment among different product or development teams?
Uh, that is highly depending on the situation you're in, because there is not a single answer to that.
Yeah.
There is one answer, and that is the answer you already know. It depends, and that is really what it is. So you don't you have to look at the teams the team or teams you are working with. How are they working? What are they doing? What is their knowledge level? Then you have to look at the other side at the management level. How are those working? Do they have an understanding of technical concepts? Yay or nay, or a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I've been at companies where there was like a big shift, and on the other side of the table, they could not separate a do while loop from a for next loop.
Mm. I just want to say that's actually a really good answer. And I think a lot of people might not actually fully understand that. Like I've seen many engineers who are trying to get buy-in to technical changes with product people who don't understand their language at all. And they're speaking, they're speaking very technical to them. And they're not thinking it depends.
No, that doesn't. The people listening to that, the horror, blah 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 blah, they don't understand, and they nod, and then when there is going to be a decision, they go by themselves. Do we
Yeah.
have a problem? No,
Right.
we are not
Yeah.
going to do this.
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, we are good. So they are used from getting feedback, but they don't understand the feedback. So you have to make it insightful to those people what the problem is you're having in simple terms. And I like quotes, and I always forget the name of the people of the quote, but there is this quote like, "Hey, I sent you a letter. It's like 35 pages. I'm so sorry for that. I had no time to make it shorter." And that is actually so true and so profoundly deep that, yeah, making things simple is not simple.
Right.
But you have to do that. If you have to talk to management or even layers above management, you have to make a compelling argument like, hey, why do we need to do this change? Why do I need to allot 6,000 man hours for this change? 6,000 man hours is thousands or even perhaps hundreds and thousands of euros or dollars worth in money. Um, if you are asking someone to spend that amount of money, they better well understand where they are spending it at.
Yeah. See,
And
okay.
that is what you need to do, and that is when you are going to the next level. And yeah,
This is one thing I really appreciate about you, though, is that you are the one who's willing to ask the whys, like you said, and dig into that rather than this trend that we're seeing now where everybody's just turning to AI, asking the questions there, and taking that as the absolute answer rather than digging in themselves. So, as someone who likes to dig into the whys and build things out for yourself, are you using AI? How are you using it? Are you finding it helpful with your applications? Or is it a hindrance?
it is getting more and more helpful
Okay.
with every passing week. Now we have MCP servers and we have like agent mode. It becomes usable.
Yeah.
before those things, it was basically a big toy that was sometimes providing a somewhat useful answer.
Yeah.
But you had to check it anyway, because quite often the answer was like a 90% lie.
Yeah.
And so you still have, it still goes off the bandwagon every now and then, but it is getting better and better at this. And I find myself that I'm utilizing AI, which is not basically, we are all calling it AI. And we are pronouncing it wrong because it should be I.
I yes.
But also it is not AI. It's not intelligent. It's just an LLM. It is predictive caching, basically. It guesses, okay, we have this 10 words. Probably this is, we are going to do somatic math, and probably this is the 11th word you're looking for. That is all the thing is doing. I'm downplaying it a little bit more than is technically true, but it is a probability machine. And that is what it is. It is not intelligence. We are not yet there. There is no AGI anywhere soon on the horizon. Although some people are claiming this, and some companies are saying we are nearing this. No, because that needs a really different way of approaching intelligence. But back to what we are using nowadays in our tools. I love what the Angular team has brought this. They have brought like this MCP server to Angular, and they keep on adding tools to this. And that actually means that you can ask your AI to help you with building. You should not ask the AI, hey, I want this feature. Can you build it for me? Because it will politely say yes, and will build you a dragon that is
Yeah.
be working, but probably not.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
I always say AI is like the junior developer that is just getting on grips with those things. It is in some areas it's a little bit faster. It's way faster at reading code. It's way faster at summarizing things. So if you need to summarize things, or you have some questions about like, hey, what does this thing do? It can read code, and it comes up with probably a good reason what it is doing. But check it. If it feels wrong, it probably is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me think, like, what do you think the interaction with new engineers or future engineers should be with AI? Does it risk hindering the development of fundamental problem-solving skills for new engineers?
Now that question is already been asked and answered for by science, not by me, but by science. And they did tests, and apparently people that go to AI first and don't use their own brain have this phenomenon called brain rot, and they cannot solve those problems by themselves.
Hmm.
There has been studies where there was a group that was not allowed to use AI in the first part of their study, and there was a group that was, hey, here is AI, do whatever.
Yeah.
Use AI. And it turns out that for solving problems, the people using AI were not able to solve problems at all after this period, where the people that were not using AI were able to solve those problems. And once they were able to solve problems and they were allowed to use AI after that, they ended up with a better situation. The thing is, it is the same with all automation. You probably don't remember, but I remember there was a time that we don't have a phone in our pocket that know where we were all the time. So if you want to navigate, you had to go unfold a big map, figure out where you are on that map, and go from there.
Yeah.
Back then, there were lots of people that could get around fine. The same people that could go fine back then, if you now take the phone away, they are lost in 10 minutes. And some people still can find their way around, but those are more an exception than a rule. I can say I'm guilty of that myself. Before I had like automated maps in my car, I probably could drive wherever I needed to go and would be there most of the times. okay, every now and then you had a fuck up and you ended up on the wrong, in the correctly named city, but the wrong city with the same name.
Yes.
Really, that happened to me like 2 or 3 times. Okay, I am in this city.
Oh,
Yeah, but that is the city in this area, and you needed to go to the city in that
That
area.
area. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That is a 3-hour drive.
Oh
Okay,
no.
I'll be on my way.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was also before mobile phones were a thing. So you
Yeah.
had to go somewhere, find someone where you could use a phone, and then call the people where you are supposed to go to and say, hey, sorry, I was there at the correct time, but apparently um, I'm in
Yeah.
the wrong whatever city.
Wrong place.
I'm in the wrong place, so I will be a little bit later.
I think it's a good comparison, though, a good analogy.
Yeah, and
And
I see the same problem with people using AI. If you are
yeah,
going to trust AI for whatever, you are not going to learn anything yourself. It is fine using AI as assistance,
yeah,
but never take what it is putting in front of you on face value, because
right.
AI will very politely lie to your face
Yeah.
and be very, very convinced it's the right answer.
Yeah.
How many R's are there in strawberry? 2.
Right. Yeah.
No, there are no 2. Oh, you're right. There is 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That is a funny one. But you're right. It does, if not used with wisdom, I think AI can be a bit of a handicap. It can create that laziness, I think. So
It's not laziness. It is actually people are not developing this part of their brain at all.
mm,
And if they are not careful, they are even, if they had something before, they are even destroying it by using AI the wrong way.
mm,
Mm.
okay.
And don't take it from me. Just go on the internet and look for studies that has been done in
Yeah.
this thing. I trust science. If there is one thing I believe in, it's science and doing your own research and your own homework,
Yeah.
which is what I always have been doing. I've never taken anything on face value. If someone tells me, hey, you should be using this because it is the best thing since sliced bread, I will take a look at the thing
Right.
and I will see, does it solve something that I need to be solved? If the answer is no, I'm done. If the answer is yes, I will look in deeper and I will look into the source. And if the source code is not up to my standards, it's still a no. And I probably take the ID and make something myself. But just do your research. And that sounds easy, but I see so many people just going on the internet and believing the first thing
Right.
they find and go, oh,
That's it.
apparently this is the provided solution for this, and there is no other way to do this.
Right.
I have always learned there are always many multiple solutions for the same problem.
Right.
And we were earlier talking about signals. I have been programming before our web was a thing and before other things were a thing. You can build anything with all languages. At least I can. I can build anything with whatever framework you give me. If you say, hey, you must use React, build this thing with React, I will build it with React. I will not like it, but
Yeah.
Well, you can.
but I can. I will ask the why question. Why do you want me to use React? Because it's stupid. I will say it like that, but there might be a motivating reason to do so. Most of them are bullocks, but okay. You can build anything with any technology. As long as you are determined enough, you will get it going.
Yeah.
Will it be maintainable? Maybe, depends on the skill set of the one that is building it. Will it be easy? Probably not, because things are way more easy if you use the right thing for the right tool for the right job.
Right.
So yeah,
Oh,
and yeah, just don't pull a random library off the internet to solve your problem.
yeah. Yeah. I love that advice. I think that's actually it's just such sound wisdom to, really do your own research, make sure you've educated yourself. It goes exactly along with what you've been saying this whole time about, really dedicating yourself, digging into the whys, putting in the time, and I think it's just such solid it's tried and true, right? And, it's something I think so many people forget nowadays because we do have all these tools at our fingertips and we don't just put in that time that I think would really benefit us. But this has been such a great conversation, such like I said, so much wisdom, I think. So we've really appreciated having you here. We did want to end, we thought it'd be fun to end with a couple of rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
hopefully you're up for this, but
Fire.
they're not programming related. It's kind of more Sander related.
Dear.
I've
That's where I run into trouble.
Oh, well, there we go. This will be good then. I did see once, when I was like I was doing research on you a little bit, wanted to make sure I knew about your background, and there was a speaker profile where you had said that you really enjoy Internet of Things and photography and science, and then fiddling with gadget-like things. So, yeah, there you go. So, is there a non-programming gadget or tech that you're really into right now and want to share with others?
There's always something. By the way, this is an ESP32 thing.
Okay,
Um, look it up. There is actually a complete computer on a board where you can add
wow,
stuff with. The nice thing is you can have it has on a USB. So basically, this is a keyboard with rotary dials. Um,
nice.
by the way, it is not ready to go. I built it myself. I programmed the thing to do what I needed to do.
I love that.
So yeah, those are the things I like to fiddle around with. Um, and most of my fiddling around, I actually love what I'm doing. So most of my fiddling around is also just building applications. One of the things that I just I was on a Sunday afternoon. I wanted to do something, and I built a small component that was called Towers of Hanoi. Do you know this? Do you know this puzzle thing?
I do not know, but it sounds
Oh, okay.
mm,
Well, it's basically a simple stack puzzle where you have seen it before. If I describe it, you have like um, a plate with 3 pins on it, and there is a couple of circles on it, and you need to place uh, from the right stack to the from the left stack to the right stack. And the only rule is you may not never put a bigger disk on a smaller one, and you still
oh,
have to move everything around. So I basically built that
oh,
as
cool.
a UI because I was bored that afternoon.
Wow.
And I made it so that I could have like unlimited amount of stacks and unlimited amount of disks that I could play with. And basically, what I wanted to do was create a solver for this thing. I didn't come around to do that because that is a little bit harder to do. But I built the thing. It's called Towers of Hanoi, and it is in my samples repo somewhere.
I'll have to look it up. Sounds fun.
That's so cool. Well, we're about at time here. And so I just want to say thank you so much, Sander, not just for this podcast and for sharing with all of us this great info, but also for all the contributions you've made to the Angular community and everything. But if anyone would like to connect with you, where could they find you?
I'm on Blue Sky at sanderelias.nl, which is my name with .nl behind it. Is that NL is the Dutch approach? Look it up. I'm there. I'm also I'm not any longer on Twitter. I still hold my handle there, but I haven't looked in over a year. I'm available mostly on Blue Sky, Mastodon, LinkedIn. You probably have found me on LinkedIn, so if you want to link up with me, use LinkedIn. I'm findable there. Just search for my name.
Very cool. Okay. Well, for those watching on YouTube, or if you aren't, come find us on YouTube and then like the video, subscribe to this channel. Tell us in the comments what you're most excited about for the future of Angular and what advancements you've most enjoyed since the Angular Renaissance. And we look forward to seeing you next time. This is the Dev Life.
See everybody.